Waitep, Miss Tessie look metqua de kelmochen squaxt, de kelmops de sewappen as de equin. Cookster cook kel cookbe. Cookster cook ke as cook el chappe as cook. Cookster cook de metget tak sewappen. Cookster cook de sewappen steen. Cookster cook white de stemne alien sewappen uluch elk all nations. Cookster cook pien white de stemne alien su achget. Ulchmeawes, ulchmeawes, ulchmeawes.
Danse, Dawao, Ekwa, Kananas Gumtanao, Wago Maganuk. Hello, welcome. I am thankful to our ancestors and to our early leaders who dreamt of us being here, and to the future leaders who will continue to advance our collective experience in Indigenous health research, to uphold and protect our healers, birthers, helpers, our medicine peoples. Under the BC Indigenous Health Research Chair Program, nurses are co-creating opportunities aimed at transforming how nursing services are delivered and fostering Indigenous nursing knowledge, advancing leadership, and championing intergenerational mentorship to ensure our research has an impact. This community-based, action-oriented research is about co-developing Indigenous graduate education in nursing, opening opportunities for learning and leading with local First Nations, Inuit, Métis people, so that nurses, we can take care of each other throughout all of this work.
As the teaching assistant of this class, and as a Métis nurse leader, I've had the privilege and honor to support this exciting opportunity, bringing together a collective of students, instructors, researchers, knowledge holders, Indigenous communities, and nursing organizations in the co-creation of a unique and distinct learning experience. The opportunity to create a rights-based approach to teaching has been deeply meaningful to my career and my understanding of Indigenous health nursing.
Yo, Nuko Amzatagila. As a doctoral intern for this class, I've been able to listen to trailblazing Indigenous nurses like Doreen Peters, Jennifer Jones, and Madeline Dion Stout. They have developed a uniquely Indigenous approach to practice which focuses on the recognition of Indigenous knowledge and research methods. They acknowledge the challenges that Indigenous nurses face while providing culturally safe care, and our path forward is completely made possible by these pioneering Indigenous nurses' hard work, scholarship, and commitment to Indigenous health nursing. Olik Ellen Mullen. Hey.
Waitka. Hello, everybody. My name is Monica McCalda. I'm calling in from the traditional unceded territories in the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. I really just want to say happy Indigenous Nurses Day to everyone, and also congratulations to all those students who completed the first course in the iGEM program. Also, great work on the collaborations with the 5 universities on making this program a reality, and just really happy to be celebrating with everybody. Cooks Jam.
Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia Johansson. I'm the Registrar and CEO at the BC College of Nurses and Midwives. I'm sending this message to you from the unceded and traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, whose relationships with this land continue to this day. It's important to accept that significant harm has been created by a healthcare system that is intrinsically racist. Through its regulatory role, BCCNM can and will influence the broader healthcare system to break the cycle of harm and improve health outcomes for Indigenous peoples. One way in which we are doing this is through the Indigenous Cultural Safety, Culture Humility, and Anti-Racism Practice Standard. We're hearing from nurses and midwives that they are becoming more familiar with the new standard and want more resources to help them in their own journeys. This is good news. It means they are looking for supports that will help end the cycle of harm. As I look ahead to the future, I'm excited about the work we still need to do. As my colleague Joe Gallagher likes to remind me, eliminating Indigenous-specific racism from our healthcare system is an everyday issue that requires everyday attention. The iGen program is vital in preparing the next generation of Indigenous nursing leaders to integrate Indigenous health nursing, which has always existed, into our healthcare system. Thank you for your courage in undertaking this incredibly important work.
This experience has ignited a fire within me. It's shown me the power of mentorship and leadership grounded in our Indigenous identity. It's a call to action, not just to continue my journey of learning and healing, but to guide others along their path. It's a testament to what's possible when Indigenous voices lead the way in shaping how we learn, heal, and grow together. This course has been a profound reminder that when we are free to explore and express in our indigeneity, incredible things happen. I step forward from here inspired to lead, mentor, and contribute to a future where Indigenous knowledge is celebrated and integrated into every aspect of healthcare and education. So thank you.
It has also been transformational in my personal and professional practice. It has been a safe and supportive space for learning like I've never had before. Being with other Indigenous nurses, having Sewepmek knowledge holder teacher Colleen open us up in a good way, grounding us before we engage in learning and closing our circle. It has helped me to address my white settler side and analyze the power that we play as healthcare providers. Willie Erman taught me about ethical space and how we helped to create that in our professional practice, but also how we were always learning for life, and even at the end, we may only have a hunch. I came into the community in my own canoe at the top of the wave, but leading at the bottom with the elders and community in the lead.
After spending the last 3 seasons of this year hearing stories and having conversations with my peers, leaders, and role models in Indigenous health and wellness, I feel I'm beginning to better understand how I can serve our communities while using protocols and principles I've learned about. Métis protocols in particular frame research as something that should be reciprocal and drawing in the best of contemporary and traditional medicines, which is consistent with my own values as a nurse, person, a Métis citizen, and now as a student. I'm grateful that this program has helped me to better understand how our languages, medicines, foods, and other parts of our cultures are essential parts of Indigenous health and wellness systems. Protocols should be embedded in our research methods and when we work with Indigenous communities and health and wellness areas.
Now I affirm my place in the process of indigenizing or re-indigenizing, rather than place myself in the work of decolonization. Madeline Dion Stout upheld this principle that Indigenous people's role is in re-indigenizing, and non-Indigenous people must work to gain knowledge in decolonization, colonization, and Indigenous-specific racism. I, as an Indigenous person, already know deeply the trauma of colonization on my people. I must stay rooted in my Indigenous power, my intergenerational gifts, strengths, and resilience.
I first had to understand that health services have historically failed to properly assess the needs of Indigenous peoples, often pathologizing Indigenous health. Repeated failures of previous Indigenous health policies have lacked an interconnection between providing service and listening to the goals of wellness of a community. Dion Stout taught me that improving the health and wellness of Indigenous peoples requires us to shift from ascribed health and wellness to achieved health and wellness. My role as a nurse in this space is to create the context to achieve health and wellness together, to create the circumstances to assess together in partnership. This context can be achieved through an approach rooted in an Indigenous worldview. I am grateful for the opportunity to learn this approach through intergenerational learning.
Nursing 680 has affected me in ways I never thought possible. This Indigenous-led course has had a transformative impact on my life and work, taking me on a process of deep self-reflection, forgiveness of shame, learning and unlearning ways of my Western education. My family and friends have shared with me the change they've seen in me and within themselves as I've shared my knowledge and curiosity around many why questions or their comments or understandings. My eyes are beginning to open to the many impacts of colonization, whiteness, and the racism strongly embedded within our current health system. This racism is adversely affecting the health and wellness of Indigenous people. And as a nurse, I have witnessed these traumatizing experiences firsthand. Feelings of frustration and disappointment, leaving me feeling powerless, unsure of how to end the trauma.
Throughout this course, we've had the honor of having Elder Colleen Seymour open us and close with prayers and teachings. It's been an absolute honor having Colleen be on this journey with us, leading us, guiding us with her prayers. The importance of our knowledge keepers are vital to our Western healthcare system and key to creating a safe environment within the educational institutions. Having Colleen a part of this course is what has helped to keep me grounded, and the reminders of the importance of weaving Indigenous knowledge and ways of being throughout the colonial structures of the educational institutions. Smau di silk ich, which means one heart and one mind in Nukok.
The words of a mentor, Rose Melnick, fill my head, resonating deeply. You cannot become what you cannot see. This message embodies the feeling I have been gifted with, the opportunity to engage with Indigenous knowledge in the readings and the physical or virtual presence in classes. These traces of knowledge shared by mentors, researchers, and community leaders within this course, reflecting Indigenous axiology, ontology, epistemology, have transformatively changed how I find and engage with knowledge and apply it respectfully within my work and my life. This community of practice is important, honoring the oral tradition of sharing knowledge and decolonizing the education framework. The ability to engage with written work within my program, as well as the person's voice, eyes, and gaze to deepen their narratives, relativity, and relationships has significantly contributed to my growth. This learning was expanded greatly through the exposure to Indigenous works and the ability to ask and, more importantly, listen to those who contributed.
The intergenerational mentorship aspect of this course has been invaluable. Elder engagement and the sharing of this form of Indigenous knowledge is personhood and nursing practice changing for me. As a BC and Inkakatmuk Indigenous person first, elder teaching and engagement experiences has directly resulted in an increased sense of self-confidence, self-connection, and a belonging to who I am, my indigeneity, and who I'm a part of and connected to. That is, my Shinnepaw First Nations community. Dr. Cora Weber-Pillwax has helped me realize that although I suffer from the racist and traumatic events of colonialism stemming from the residential school system and the other deeply harming governmental practices, laws, and regulation only best described as cultural genocide, that in all of that attempt to erase me and my culture, that I'm still connected to and have access to an Indigenous knowledge source because it is unremovable. It is unerasable part of me. Mm-hmm. That is, indigeneity and Indigenous knowledge is part of my blood. It's my blood memory, a source of Indigenous knowledge that flows through generations and that comes from our ancestors. Elder teaching by Elder Dawn Beachman teaches me to understand that the elders are always with me, guiding me and leading me and participating in all I do or decide to do.
Kathleen Lounsbury has taught us that our scholarly journeys will not put us all in the same place and that they may not be perfectly linear, but that even by being here, we are challenging the colonial narrative and making a difference. The differences may be made on a smaller community level or they can be made on a systemic level, and both of these are immensely important. We can be leaders whether we are home care nurses, health directors, Indigenous patient navigators, or executive directors in a health authority. While we still have a long way to go, we must remember the exciting changes within nursing that have happened over the last few years, such as the introduction of an Indigenous cultural safety, cultural humility, and anti-racism practice standard with the BCCNM, as well as all the work being done within the individual health authorities. Navigating the colonial world of healthcare while maintaining our Indigenous ways of knowing is and will continue to be challenging. However, intergenerational mentorship is a visual and physical reminder of the strides that have been made and an inspiration for future work to be done at every level.
The iGen stream helps to create nurses become leaders in the development of Indigenous-specific or anti-racist curricula. They're role models and advocates for other Indigenous nurses and will authentically represent Indigenous worldviews. They know the importance of revitalizing Indigenous knowledge and approaches, and they increase Indigenous representation in the profession. Indigenous-focused graduate programs will signal a shift in how Indigenous knowledge is incorporated into nursing, ultimately improving retention of Indigenous nurses and improving health outcomes. The value of reclaiming, exchanging, and naturalizing Indigenous knowledge transfer through a community of practice full of nurse leaders has been transformative. This course has given me a better understanding of what I want my nursing practice to look like, but what I did not expect was the wonderful journey of reclamation and self-discovery. Cook's Jam.
Hence, it is important for a clinical nurse specialty like this because the current education system is built with the colonial lens, which neglects a set of knowledge that would holistically meet the needs of our people. We are in a time to reclaim and revitalize our ways of healing and professional practice. The Indigenous nurses and scholars who attended our class shared their wisdom with the power of storytelling, culture, songs, and in text, an invaluable way of learning from those who did it before us. The Indigenous knowledge absorbed in the iGen initiative leaves me with a sense of responsibility to continue to learn more and use this knowledge accordingly to improve the health and wellness of our people.
Nursing philosophy, evidence-based practice, ethics, and professional identity are all very important to nursing, but they're very Eurocentric, and I've struggled for the last year to transform the coursework and expectations to align with me as I'm situated within Indigenous health nursing and research. These special topics, Nursing 680 course, has emphasized Indigenous protocols, processes, and pedagogy in a way that I can relate to, in a way that makes sense to me as an Indigenous nurse. Dr. Bork-Bearskin and the iGen Special Topics course is a start to dismantling colonization within academic institutions. It's helping us redefine and reclaim our Indigenous ways of teaching and learning.
I've learned from many grandparents that our new buffalo is education. We need it to survive in the not-Beakoans world. I see iGen doing amazing things. I've witnessed Indigenous scholars coming together and sharing their stories. These stories make me proud to be an Indigenous nurse. Knowledge holders like Colleen would start our class with a prayer and words of wisdom. I can see classes starting up with lighting a smudge, including all types of prayers. I see grandparents from all communities teaching our history. Grandparents tell stories. These stories all have great meaning. You take what you need from it. This is how we gain an education from our oral history. We didn't write things down. We listened. We observed. I see students learning from the land, gathering teachings from the stars, the animals, lifting our spirits higher and higher. I see our languages flourishing. I see the shame that Indigenous people have endured dissipating. I see the power of song and the drum being taught in class.
To be honest, the course has been pretty heavy, heart heavy. It's the kind of work that changes a person. It's difficult to really identify specific opportunities and inspirations gained from the course because it's been the whole experience. It's the synchronicity of the reading material, conversations and projects I'm engaged in at work, the healing guidance at the end of the day by Colleen, and the safe conversations with nursing leaders like Lisa and Leanne and all of the classmates. It's fostered this sense of connection and solidarity among students and scholars that crosses these kind of isolated silos that we practice within in Indigenous healthcare.
When I speak Nehinawewin, my blood memories are awakened and reconnect me to my heritage. I feel my ancestors guiding me to a place of strength and healing when I speak. Willie Ermine imparted some advice to me during a class. He urged me to keep speaking Nehinawewin. He emphasized that using Indigenous languages is vital because it helps us tap into the higher power of our innermost selves. Doing so can bring about changes we want to see within these colonial systems. His words left a deep impression on me and I realized how significant it is to embrace and celebrate our cultural heritage. The journey that I have begun at UVic has been empowering. Being seen, heard, and given the tools to keep getting up and trying has been invaluable. As well, with our instructors, they have been unwilling to give up on us. Being immersed in Indigenous culture through this course has been a driving force for me, and it has been an honor to learn from such knowledgeable scholars. This experience has helped me grow personally and professionally, and I'm excited to put this knowledge into practice as I continue my nursing career. Tahtau gisagaw nanas kumon egwa netah komeamon kagige mana. Hi.